Hi guys, my name is Gleesimer. I'm kind of back in action. I don't know, call me crazy. Um, so hope everybody's been well over the past years. I've been inactive, but I'm back. um, so today I'm gonna show you guys the Nraas story progression mod, which is my favorite mod for sure. And I'll just go through all the interactions and how it works. There's a base mod, and then there's all these kind of expansion mods, if you will. I have all of them downloaded, so if you just download the base story progression, you won't see all the interactions I show. You would need to download like every single one. But I'll show you them now. So basically, the way you find them is by going to the town hall or the computer and clicking on Nraas. I have a lot of Nraas mods downloaded, but we're going to story progression. So this is what comes up when you click story progression. I'm just going to go through them one by one. So cast options. It's not like traditional casts. It just kind of identifies your sim by their type, like, adults, elders, females, ghosts, homeless. So you can set different limits within here if you don't like the automatic Sims 3. An example of this is if you go to, actually not elder females. As you guys know, in the base Sims game, they're not allowed to participate in pregnancy. So if you wanted them to be able to, you would just click the check. I don't want that, so I'm not going to. And then elder females would be able to have children in your town. So that's kind of the advantage of doing this. You can also add casts. For example, I'm living in a medieval world, so I added a royalty cast. You can have the cast be automatic, or not automatic. You can click on Sims and assign them to casts through Nraas story progression. If I wanted royalty to be only a people with a certain amount of wealth, I can set the minimum amount of wealth that a sim would need to be assigned into this royalty cast. You can make the cast inherited, which I have set as true because I think of inherited monarchies. And there's a bunch of other stuff that I'll go through when we get to town options, because these are all basically the same. Alright, so that covers the cast options. But let's go to town options, because this is where the real meat of the mod is, if you will. So career allow carpool, that just tells whether or not your sim would carpool to work, which we have as true. Allow find job is speaking of the whole town, and whether or not sims are allowed to find a job in your town. If you had this set to false, all your sims would be unemployed or retired. First, let's start here. Curfew begin, curfew end. Basically here, enter the first hour of curfew to enforce on this sim. Set to same as curfew end to disable. On this sim, it means the town, because I'm under town options. So we don't have a curfew, obviously. Death allow aging. Basically, if you want, this could be helpful if you're doing the Sims University, because you set story progression different for every town you're in. So for example, if you were on World Adventures and you vacation to a different world, you'll get prompted with the option like, oh, do you want story progression to be enabled in your town? And you select yes or no. And then you could edit things like you don't want aging in a certain town that you go to, or not, for a variety of reasons. So cumulative chance of death is the basically percent chance that increases every day your elder is beyond their age limit. So Yeah, exactly. So basically, I'm not sure what the exact percent is automatically in the base game, but say it was there's a 50% chance of dying every day your elder lives beyond their little like age thing here. This would be like the next day, if I set it to 1, it would be a 51% chance of dying, 52% chance, etc., etc. Maximum elder days, this is set to -1 right now because I don't have a maximum. Um, but this is the maximum number of days they will keep living after their death if you just want a cutoff so you don't have so many old people. So death push chance. This is one that's often confusing for people. So basically, story progression fires in-game scenarios in which you have a chance of dying. For example, in my version of story progression, I have supernatural downloads. So there's Helsings that slay the vampires, and every time there's a fight, there's a chance that the Helsing could die or the vampire could die. So push chance is the percent chance out of 100 that a sim would die when certain death invoking scenarios occur. So I have it set to 30, which means every time there's a fight, if someone gets injured, there's a 30% chance they'll die. And this can be fun if you're creating like a city and you want there to be violence, or if you're like me and you're in a medieval town, or you just want a really cutthroat game where it's hard to survive. It's kind of fun to have a lot of kids and then set the death chance to be really high so only a few survive. Enemies, allow cast, disallow cast. Basically that means, for example, if you didn't want elder females to have enemies, you could click enemy disallow cast and select elder females. They're automatically set as allow cast to everyone and disallow cast to no one. Actually, I don't think kids are allowed. But basically that. Adultery chance is a chance that I'm pretty sure that a sim will flirt with a partnered sim engaging in a flirt scenario with another sim. And partner just means either dating, like girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, or married. And then liaison chance is the chance of them finding out. When there is an adultery scenario, the chance of the other partner finding out that something's happened. Flirt allow cast is the same as these two. Friendship allow, obviously, allow cast, same thing. Allow celebrity, whether celebrities can be friends with people in the town. Allow celebrity disgrace. I'm not quite sure what this does, if I'm being honest. I know that it's automatically set to false, and having it set to false, I think it's basically means like you can get disgraced within your household, but like I don't think anyone in the town will have a celebrity disgrace. Disallow cast. Household name change set to true automatically means when sims move in with other sims, the household name gets updated, which is really helpful because I feel like in a lot of games it ends up that the name of the house has absolutely nothing to do with the people that are living there. Household allow move as cast. It kind of weird. Like I don't know why you would want to move as cast, but I guess if you wanted to, you could. Allow move as family, true. Allow move solo, false. I think this is basically set to false. Doesn't really seem to affect anything. Because in the town with story progression enabled, you can still have sims who reach adulthood and move out on their own with it set to false, so I wouldn't worry about this. Disallow move cast. Oh, that's what this means. Sorry. This would be disallow and allow move cast would be setting, like, for example, if you don't want elder females to move, you would put them on disallow move cast. And the way this works is basically it lets you select who you don't want to move. It brings you to the cast screen. Rent multiple basically allows people in the town, once they get wealthy enough, can choose to purchase rental lots in which they would rent them out to other people in the town. Household rentable, true, both of those involve the same thing. Maximum size human, as you guys know, you can have 8 humans in your house, and you can set this higher if you want more. So basically, if you want to change the size of the household, you can allow like 9, 10, 12 Sims to live in a house. Just so you know, if you have extra Sims in your active family, you can only ever play 8 Sims at once. You'll have other Sims living with you. But sometimes it's random, sometimes it's by age. Like, there will only be 8 people here until you kick people out, and then you'll have until there's only 8 people, and then you'll be able to play everybody. And there's not really a good way of being able to choose who you want to play. It's kind of random, so just something to keep in mind. Same goes for maximum size pet. Allow inventory management means allowing people in their town to sell what's random objects collect in their inventories to make a little extra money to pay for rent or just save up for a new house or whatnot. Allow purchase deeds, allows people in the town to purchase deeds. Oh, shocker. But kind of in the same way your sim could buy a park or whatnot. So child support base chance, basically in story progression, if there is a child that is not living with both of his parents, the parent that the child is not living with, or if it's not living with either parent, both parents have to pay child support, and this is the base chance that someone would actually pay their child support, because a lot of people will skip out on it for whatever reason. So you can adjust that if you want 100% of people to pay their child support, whatnot. Income tax rate, I have mine set really high for my town. Sorry about that. Because I want peasants to stay peasants, kind of. Property tax rate, and keep in mind, these set them for the town and not just for your household. Money transfer household, this kind of allows you to transfer money from one of the town households to another town household, which can be useful if you want certain Sims to buy a new home, but they don't have enough money, blah 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 blah. I'm sorry, I just lost myself. Notify on move, don't really know what that does. Kind of irrelevant. You still get an alert when people move houses, so it seems kind of silly. Personality, allow. Personalities are kind of town leaders in a sense. For example, as I mentioned earlier, there's the Helsing, which are people that fight vampires. There's the Nosferatu, I can't say that word. But that's a group of vampires themselves that are evil. There's the Slayers that are also fighting the vampires. The Helsing, I think, fight all supernatural. They fight werewolves too. Speaking of werewolves, there's the Hound, which is this lead werewolf on a sex rampage. There's the town Tart, which is a girl who mooches money off everyone and is sleeping with everyone. There's a ton of different ones, like the town Crazy, that's not the name of it, but yeah, so basically I think allowing personalities makes gameplay so much more fun, and just story progression in general. I really don't think I would play The Sims if I didn't have story progression, which is why I was really hesitant / do not play The Sims 4, because I think this is the funnest part of The Sims for me. And I wouldn't want to play without it, basically. Allow a cult change just means if someone's the town Tart and all of a sudden they get turned into a vampire, they can stay the town Tart. Personality, disallow. Personality, if basically you could pardon me. If you click on this, we'll get a list of the personalities, and I can actually go through these right now, but if you wanted to disallow some of them, you could. If, for example, you don't want the Dracool in your town, just click on it and then you wouldn't have them. So the bike is the woman that is sleeping with everyone. You can get the name. Casanova is a man, and basically the majority of things that happen with this is females getting into fights over them, and as I mentioned earlier, death push chance, so you can have women dying fighting for this guy if you wanted to. Town cat is someone who is stealing from everyone, very slyly, so this person usually ends up with a ton of money because they steal objects and money from other people. The town Dracool is a group of vampires. I'm pretty sure they're the good guys, though. Like, they aren't evil. The town Feral is a werewolf that is kind of just crazy all over the place, attacking people and the like. Also important to mention that all of these personalities can have followers. So there might be a head of the town Dracool, but can be as many vampires as you want. Not as you want. The game does it automatically in the town Dracool. And the way these are chosen and assigned in the town is by the traits people have. So, for example, if someone has the flirty trait or irresistible, they're likely to be a bike or Casanova as opposed to someone else. The town Fae is fairies. What's interesting about this, and something that's important depending on the way you want to manage the supernatural in your game, is that the town Fae will turn babies into fairies. Fairies, not fairies. So just so you know. Town Gigolo is another man that is having sex with everyone, but he gets paid. Helsing, I've mentioned several times, is people fighting vampires and werewolves. Town Hound is a werewolf who basically everybody's obsessed with and wants to bang, wants to smash. Kingpin, I think, is really fun. Basically kind of the head of the mob in the town, so people all pay up to this kingpin. Also someone who makes a lot of money, someone who's in charge, rich usually, really in control of things. Lestat is another vampire group. I'm pretty sure they're the peaceful vampire groups, or they just, like, I'm not sure because Lestat hasn't been spawned into my game in a very long time. I'm not sure exactly why, just randomly, I suppose. Nosferatu is what I mentioned earlier also. Those are the evil vampires. Keep in mind that, I have a vampire right now, which is what made me think of this, as you can see. The people in your household cannot be personalities, nor can they be a follower of personalities. This is just things that happen in the town. You can obviously be friends with everybody in one personality group if you want that to be your gang, but you wouldn't be technically ever considered part of it. The town pack is a group of werewolves. If your town doesn't have many werewolves, it can sometimes be all of them, and it's basically just a group of werewolves that are constantly on the move, and a lot of the townies are criticizing them for being gross all the time. Town Robin is basically like Robin Hood. They are usually a really good person, or someone who steals, like a kleptomaniac. And basically they steal money from the rich Sims in town and deliver it to the poor Sims in town. Slayer is people who slay vampires. Once again, a risky career because people are very prone to dying by fighting, especially in my town. And then Town Tart, as I mentioned, is a little girl, not a little girl. It can be a teenage girl to a young adult girl who just is kind of mooching money off her men and sleeping around. And then the Town Vigilante, so many words I can't say. Basically are, that it's the vigilante, the extra police force in the town that are going around and trying to fight crime and whatnot. Okay. So then we get to pregnancy. I don't allow adoption in my town just because I don't like the automatically generated sims they give you. Allow can be pregnant, can be pregnant cast. This is also another place where you could set up who you want to be able to be pregnant. Allow participation cast. Kind of the same thing. I feel like you're getting the hang of casts by now if you've been watching this far. Base number of children. This sets about how many children you want each family in your town to have. I have mine set to 7, but that's because I have the death rate set to so high. I want people to be able to survive. Don't want civilization to be wiped out. But also keep in mind that traits adjust this. So for example, if you had it set to 3, but you had 2 family-oriented sims living in your town, they might have 5 or 6 kids. And vice versa. If you have someone who dislikes children, they might have 1 or 2 or none. Disallow. All the cast ones kind of are the same. Maternity leave. Basically, you can set additional days to add to maternity leave. Enter 0. I don't know. I think it disables maternity leave completely, so I would leave it at 1. It's not like adding an extra day or anything. Maximum number of children. I have it set to 0, which means there's no max, but kind of self-explanatory. So this is what I think is super fun, because if you're like me, you think the Sims automatic names are fucking weird. Newborn last name, I have it set to prompt, but you can also have it set to mother, father, or prompt, and this means every time someone has a kid, it'll like an alert will pop up that will say, a child was born to Mary Smith and John Smith, like, what would you like their last name to be? And I can be like Smith, or I can be like no, or whatever I want their name to be. I have this set because I'm doing some Game of Thrones shiz where if the kid's a bastard, I put their last name as Snow, because I just think it's fun. And then rename newborns basically means you would just change their first name, so when a kid is born you get to name them, which is especially useful if you're doing a themed scenario like medieval or Wild West or something like that, but also just kind of fun in general, so you don't have names like, I don't know, the Sims have really weird names and really weird spellings. Pregnancy unexpected base chance means the chance that 2 flirting Sims, which is another, basically you have flirting Sims and partnered Sims. Partnered, as I mentioned earlier, is girlfriend or married, and then flirting is just people who are like casually dating, not really anything serious quite yet. An unexpected base chance would be the chance that these Sims accidentally get pregnant. Sometimes they'll have a shotgun wedding, sometimes they won't. Push, allow after work. I don't know what any of these mean, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't think they're that important to my gameplay. So I don't worry about them, would recommend you do the same. Go to hospital chance. This is similar to death chance. Basically, if Sims are fighting in a fighting scenario, what are the odds that they go to the hospital? Push go to jail chance. This is usually from not paying child support. I haven't really seen Sims go to jail for anything else. But once again, these are both percentages. Then romance. Retain dreams and opportunities, I think, has to do with keeping your Sims' wishes and lifetime wishes. But I think that would just really slow down gameplay, I would imagine, so I keep it set to false. I'm sorry, I'm yawning. Romance allow. So romance is, as I mentioned earlier, the step above like flirting. Allow breakup. I set it to false because I want these Sims to be forced to stay married because it's medieval and it's like traditional, which is like really mean, but you know, it's like that sometimes. Allow marriage, allow a partner cast. So again, if you want only certain casts to have partners, that's what you would do there. Allow steady, like girlfriend, boyfriend. Allow arranged marriage cast. I have it set to teenagers, young adults, and adults. 3. Arranged marriage, basically, the game sets up two people to be married, and then if their relationship is high enough, they get engaged and get married immediately. So like they have to like, it gets announced and then the two sims interact. If they are a good match, they get married. If they're not a good match, they'll find other partners. Dowry max and min. Actually, I'm going to change these because I don't like that. I'm going to just wait till the end to do that. But basically, if you want dowries to be paid to families for marrying off their children, that is where you would do that. Legacy marriage name would be helpful if you were doing a legacy game, obviously. I don't do those, so I'm not sure the exact details of it, to be honest. Then marriage name and marriage name same sex. Basically, the only difference between these two is this one you could choose like male, female, or prompt. Or you can have them be like dashed. So if someone with the last name Smith and the last name Adams got married, you could have both parents have the name Smith Adams. Smith dash Adams. You know what I mean. And then same sex. The prompts are like that dash thing prompt or older, younger. So you could have always the older sim have the last married name in same sex marriages. Disallow trait, force trait. This could force everyone in your town to not have a trait or force everyone in your town to have a trait. These I also really don't think are necessary. If anyone knows what these mean, let me know, but I don't think they're really important to have a fun game, so let's set these. The maximum cash, I think 0. The minimum cash, oh, this is a caste-based arranged marriage, but I guess all arranged marriage are caste-based because I have it set to the ages, like young adult, teenager, etc. Alright, so that covers the town options. Immigrant options is helpful because I hate it. Okay, first off, this does not reflect my view of immigrants in real life at all. But I hate sim immigrants because they all have the same generic Sims face, and it completely messes up the genetics of your town because eventually everyone starts looking the same, which I don't think is that fun. So basically, you can allow them to, I allow them to have jobs, I don't let them go to school. I let them age, but I don't, like, I usually set it so they can't like move into my town, which it's the same interactions as before, but like, I don't want them to be pregnant. And also a good way to do this is, if you're interested, Nraas register, allow immigration false, which is key, so I would recommend getting this mod honestly just for that. So, that kind of covers the whole mod. I'm gonna just show you a few of the little interactions at the top. So, look who's out making the rounds. Thomas said Wild, the local hussy, was seen gallivanting around town, visiting as many friends as she could find. So I'm pretty sure that this is a tart interaction or bike. No, this is probably bike. So she would be the main personality of bike, and this is just an innocent sim that got involved with her. This is the Robin. The Lafreniere family found themselves with a nice little bonus in the mail recently after a mysterious stranger left some 16,000 simoleons in their mailbox. So for example, the Robin would have taken the money and from a richer family, which I assume is stolen from them because they're a wealthier family in town, and delivered it to the Lafreniere family. I'm just gonna wait for a little while and play, and then when another one comes up, I'll show you guys. Okay, so here's a great example of the prompting names. So enter the new last name for baby of parents. Because they are not married, I am making the last name of the child Snow. I also have it set. This is kind of a different section. Under the general options for story progression, there's more detailed about each option. I have it set so when parents marry, if the children are mutual, the kid will get the marriage last name. So for example, if Orion Lawless married Sophie Dwyer and they both became Lawlesses, then this child would have his last name changed from Snow to Lawless. Baby girl. Making the names fun and medievally, so. Holla. Wow, I can't really come up with a name. So much pressure. And then we can see up here, aren't those pretty little wings? This is an example of the Fae interaction. So she turned Wesleya O'Shea into how their babies... The child's parents are still confused about how their baby suddenly sprouted wings, though they have a wary eye on the local fairy populace. This is the birth that we just named. And then once again we have this bike chick who's trying to bang Neddard. So yeah guys, I think that's gonna be it for this little mod review. Let me know what you think, and please feel free to comment videos you want to see alone. Alone? Huh, don't know what that means. For me to make next time, because a bitch is back, you know. Well, I'm trying to swear less, because, you know, your girl wants to get monetized, but we'll see. Basically, I have summaries turned on because I think it's fun to read. I, like, love micromanaging my towns. I don't know if you could tell from this video, but you can see the new flirts. No home. This happens when two Sims just get married and they can't find an affordable house to move into. So this might be a cue for you to build some more cheaper homes in your town. Rob and Rob. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. I don't know who the Robin is, but one of them got robbed. An existing friend. There's just friend interactions where people just hang out for fun, which is really cute. Robin donate. Oh yeah, so Maeve Eames is the Robin. So she donated to Marion. Yeah, so you can... basically all these interactions is what we just saw under the little alerts. So thank you guys so much for watching this video and accepting me back into your life. Appreciate it if you came this far. Once again, please comment video ideas that you would like to see. I said this in a little post comment I made, but basically all my Sims games saves got deleted. I had to re-download the whole game and blah blah blah. So I lost the Sims 3 Apocalypse challenge, but I am willing to make another one if that's what you guys want to see. Also, I'm open to doing Sims 4 stuff and dabbling there. What else? This town, if you want it, is called Dracool Isle. It's nice, it has little peasant villages, blah blah blah. The one problem is it doesn't really have any rabbit holes, so I added the Dragon Valley ones. But yeah, so I'll link it below if you want it. Anyway, that's all. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys soon.